even though Joe Montana went to the right situation in Kansas City after the Niners, including with the coaching, and got him to the AFC Championship game. See, he's not a system quarterback. It's not just Bill Walsh. Brady just won the Super Bowl in year one. Now, were the Bucs loaded? Yep, they sure were. Everywhere you look, they were loaded. Okay? Did he leave the cupboard bare for Belichick? Was he coaching under very difficult circumstances and still did a nice job, 7-9? Yes, he did. But we don't have 1,000 seasons to play out, to run perfect experiments to see who was who. This is pretty much as good as you could ask for. Brady's on a new team. Belichick's coaching without him. And by the way, if anything, the coach has the advantage because when the coach is older, he should still be good. Brady's 43. So the answer, does this affect Belichick's legacy? The answer is yes. He has to now win without Brady. He can't just, that's a good coaching job. He went 8-8 this season. Nope. He's got to make deep playoff runs. He should win a ring without Brady before all is said and done, or his legacy, the great debate, is it more Belichick or Brady? Shockingly to me, will be won by those who said, no, it was more Brady. Yes, this is a big deal.
It's a big deal, but not for Bill Belichick, the coach. I have no questions about Bill Belichick, the coach, because in the sport of football, it takes more than just a quarterback to win it, as we learned last night. You consider what happened on defense, you consider what happened on special teams, and you have an overseer that allocates responsibility to other people, the people he picks to put in charge, whether it's offensive coordinator, defensive line coach, linebackers coach, quarterback coach, et cetera, et cetera. You're the head coach. You oversee all of that. And Bill Belichick is a 6-time champion as a head coach, a 2-time champion as a coordinator, a guy that's been to 11 Super Bowls in his career. I refuse to insult that man by questioning the coach that is Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, the GM, however, is an entirely different conversation. You could have had DK Metcalf or A.J. Brown instead of somebody like N'Keal Harry. You could have had a Damian Harris, for example, who's been impressive, instead of a Sony Michel who can ball. I'm not trying to knock Sony Michel. When you look at the quarterback position, forget the Jimmy Garoppolo deal, because we understand that. I'm sorry, I think Jacoby Brissett at this point in time in his career is better than Cam Newton. You could have still had him, somebody who was better, younger, fresher legs, not beaten up, age and attrition hadn't kicked in, and on top of it all, he was familiar with the New England system. All of those things come into play. And when you don't have those things at your disposal because you've made a decision as a GM, that is bad enough. But when it gets incredibly egregious, y'all, is when, as I reported and I told you last year, Tom Brady would have stayed if he believed he was wanted by Bill Belichick. Owner Robert Kraft would have found a way to make it happen if Bill Belichick has shown enough respect and enough affection for Tom Brady to let him know you're wanted, you're valued. But that was not the case. So Tom Brady was hell-bent on going elsewhere to prove what his value was. And when you listen to these guys on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers speak about Tom Brady, it's not just guys on the offensive side of the ball. It wasn't just Leonard Fournette. It wasn't just Antonio Brown. You talk about Shaq Barrett. You talk about Devin White and others. You talk about Ndamukong Suh, who was interviewed by Greeny this morning on Get Up. And you talk about the coach that is Bruce Arians. And you hear everybody collectively speak about the leadership ability of this dude and how he galvanizes everybody. What you have is a coach who's also the GM in New England that selectively decided to ignore that component. In other words, this is my program. We're going to do it my way. The hell with all of that. And when you do that to somebody that old who's produced for you, and somehow you missed the leadership component that he brings to the team, and how he's able to squeeze out whatever somebody else has left in them. Then you think about Gronk, who wanted to retire and was shivering on stage one day talking about, you have no idea what I was going through. But now not only does he come back, shines in the Super Bowl, but says he ain't thinking about retiring.
They look like they're having fun.
They look like they're having fun.
Brady, the GM, is pretty darn good, too. He brought back Leonard Fournette, all these players. All 31 points that were scored by the Bucs guys were all players that were not on the Bucs in 2019 who went 7-9. They all came to play with Tom Brady.
But if you're an executive and your responsibility is to identify and then allocate responsibility to somebody else, and you miss that, That's bad.
All right.
That's
This conversation to be continued. Brady, MJ, Gretzky. Did Brady prove he's the greatest in team sports? The fellas are fired up for this one. It's with heavy hearts this morning that we report the passing of our ESPN colleague and friend, Pedro Gomez, who died unexpectedly Sunday at the age of 58. Pedro was an ESPN reporter since 2003 and one of the country's foremost baseball journalists. I want to tell you a story. When ESPN covered the race, any franchise, yes, not player, franchise in NFL history, the undisputed GOAT, reminding us why age ain't nothing but a number. Huge congrats to the Bucs. Tampa, talk that talk.
It's been an amazing year. Amazing year. We got off to a good start, 7-2, and then had a little rough stretch where we kind of found our identity and played a lot better football down last December, January, and just really proud of all the guys, proud of all the coaches, the effort we put in. We knew we were playing a great football team tonight, and we got the job done. So you want to get this far, you got to get the job done, and we did it.
His leadership is off the charts, and he's a winner, man, and that's all you can say. He brought a winning mentality to a really talented football team that didn't know how to win.
All right, Stephen A., listen, I might have got the Bucs score right, but I certainly didn't get the Chiefs. Right. Were you surprised by the beatdown that took place?
No, I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. I picked the Chiefs to win this game. I knew that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would score over 30. I knew they'd find a way to put up points because I wasn't that enamored with Kansas City's defense. But I certainly didn't expect Tampa Bay's defense to do what they did. To get pressure on Patrick Mahomes, to pressure him on 32.7% of the snaps, I think that was the number. To sit up there and watch him scrambling for his life.